Should all acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should all acquaintance be forgot and all lang syne? For all lang syne, my dear, for all lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for all lang syne.
Junkanoo groups mesmerize spectators during the New Year's Day parade. The Prime Minister weighs in on the controversial decision to eliminate one lap. Value-added tax takes effect, plus how police plan to tackle crime in 2015. We've got those stories and a whole lot more coming up tonight. Happy New Year. I'm Bonnie Toot and NB12 starts now. Topping news tonight, Bay and Shirley streets came alive this morning as members of the various Junkanoo groups rushed their hearts out in hopes of becoming the 2015 New Year's Day champions. Simone Davis reports.
After being disqualified during last week's Boxing Day Junkanoo parade, the Prodigal Sons had a lot to prove this morning as they burst out of the gate and danced down Bay Street, depicting the characters of Walt Disney World. Then came the music makers. Next out of the gate, the Shell Saxons Superstars, who dazzled Junkanoo fans with their theme, 50 Years of Saxons. Though some members of the Saxons threatened to boycott this morning's parade, following controversy surrounding the Boxing Day parade, group members showed up and showed out. However, it was the music from the Roots Junkanoo group that had Bay Street rocking as spectators danced to the sounds of sweet Junkanoo music. Then there were the Valley Boys, determined to make up for last week's disappointing fourth-place finish. With their Pirates of the Caribbean theme, the Valley Boys took Junkanoo fans hostage with their elaborate costumes.
Just take it back for me, please. Take it back for me.
Last out of the gate, the One Family Junkanoo group, which wrestled the Boxing Day title away from the Saxons after an error was discovered in Junkanoo scores. It was clear One Family came searching for a doable victory.
Much lower this year because the bleachers just look a little bit scattered. Fans say they still enjoyed the parade.
So far it's been great. It's a good way to start the new year. And I was very impressed a while ago with Music Makers, that theme. It reminded us about too much murder in our country and about crime and about putting God first. I like that theme. It's encouraging.
We also caught up with the Prime Minister Perry Christie, who asserted that the New Year's Day parade was more successful than the Boxing Day parade. In fact, Christie, who helped take the Valley Boys to victory during the 2013 Boxing Day parade, says he wishes he was able to shuffle down Bay Street this morning.
I wish I was out there. When I looked at Vola Francis, the Saxons were good, they performed well, but they missed a dancer like me. They don't have it there. You see someone who could, they don't have it. And that's what they missed. And so I expect this year coming up to be a year of great culture, great music in this country, great entertainment.
Although many fans appreciated the fast pace of Junkanoo this year, one thing they didn't like was the decision to eliminate the second Bay Street lap.
No, because they did not cut the price. $45. If you cut the lap, you cut the price.
Both tourists and celebrities all came out to enjoy Bahamian culture, including former NFL player Chad Johnson. The Valley Boys fan says he loves visiting the Bahamas and looks forward to attending future Junkanoo parades.
Junkanoo, that's it. I mean, I've been a fan of Junkanoo since I was a little kid, growing up in Miami. I was never able to come here and experience the real Junkanoo. Of course, they have some down in Miami, but it's not the real thing. So once my NFL career stopped after 13, 14 years, I came down and experienced it, so I doubt I ever miss. I love Valley Boys, but I love to see G Money in the Roots. I like G Money in the Roots. I like to see him cut up.
I just love the Saxons. That was a great show. It's awesome.
And as always, NB12 will have the official results of the 2015 New Year's Day Junkanoo Parade for you once they are announced. Reporting for NB12, I'm Simone Davis.
Junkanooers put on a spectacular performance this morning, despite some group leaders' outrage over the Junkanoo Corporation's decision to eliminate the second Bay Street lap. Prime Minister Perry Christie weighed in on the controversial change.
Bola Francis, when he came here, was questioning how could you just spring upon us just one lap, because our sponsors have put a lot of money into this and they have not been consulted. And so the question is, what are sponsors going to think? Is it worth it to them to invest in a group and not have the exposure that they think is necessary?
Christie says many changes must be made over the next year to address hours-long delays. He says it's something he has already discussed with Culture Minister Dr. Daniel Johnson.
I've asked the Minister for Culture to meet with the Junkanoo community as a result of what I saw last week, that we have to look at Junkanoo and make some really progressive decisions about it. People are bored when you have hundreds of people dancing without music because the groups are too big and the music can't reach. We have to make innovations. We have to do something about it. It's so. People last week were chanting, "We want Junkanoo," because of the delays.
The Prime Minister says it is important that Bahamians continue to enjoy this cultural experience.
I'm going to cause there to be an inquiry into this with a view to looking at the whole of the Bahamas, and especially as we're going to Junkanoo Carnival now, and you will find as soon as we finish this, there's going to be a frenzy developing on Junkanoo Carnival because it's commercially driven.
Deputy Prime Minister Philip Davis also attended this morning's parade. Following the controversy surrounding overturned Junkanoo results, he says he hopes Junkanoo officials take the necessary steps to ensure there is no more confusion.
I'm just hoping, my expectation is that the events of Boxing Day and that experience will not impact what happens tonight, this morning. I'm aware that there's much tension that has been created by those events, and I trust that they can put that aside and let's just enjoy what we all know about Junkanoo.
January 1st also marks the beginning of a new tax regime in the Bahamas, value-added tax. Leader of the Democratic National Alliance, Branville McCartney, says the implementation of VAT will indefinitely alter this country's economic landscape, adding VAT is bad for business and bad for Bahamians. McCartney says in the lead-up to VAT implementation, the government bungled its education campaign, which was expected to prepare Bahamians for the major tax policy shift.
From my understanding, the official opposition and the whole Bahamas don't agree with this value-added tax. Let's prolong it until we introduce the Freedom of Information Act, until we introduce the Fiscal Responsibility Act, until we have an accountable government and transparent government, until we are able to collect our outstanding debts today.
The DNA leader also questioned how government could tax Bahamians when it has failed to go after prominent tax dodgers.
Until those same men and women in the House of Assembly who is imposing a new tax on us, namely the PLPs in there, pay their taxes, because I'm sure, I can almost guarantee you much more than half of them have not paid up to date their taxes. But they want to impose new taxes on us.
When NB12 returns, how police plan to tackle crime in 2015. So stay with us.